One of the big questions in multilingualism is how languages influence each other and what is and is not shared across those languages. So, the driving question behind this paper is whether highly similar speech sounds from two different languages arise from the same underlying category or not. Most of the prior work in this area has focused on telling sounds that are phonologically similar, but phonetically distinct apart. So, an example of this would be an English T and a Spanish T. One of them is long lag initially, and the other is short lag initially. So while they have the same relative position in their inventories, they have this difference on the surface. But ultimately, if you're thinking about shared representation, the best candidates for that shared representation are the ones that are already even more similar. In the current study, we're looking at long lag stops in English and in Cantonese. What I'm asking is, can I tell them together? Can I say, oh, this T and this T are the same thing? The data we use here is from the SPICE corpus of conversational speech in both languages with early bilinguals. From this, we took a sample of initial long lag stops, and after filtering out errors and that sort of thing, we came up with a sample of 9,458. So with this, we're looking for uniform structure in the phonetic variation in a couple of different ways. The first is just to look at the ordinal relationships, and the second, pairwise correlations, and then we sort of dive into where is that variation coming from in a mixed effects model. In terms of the ordinal relationships, relatively few talkers showed the pattern that we expected to see. What you expect is to see P, so your average P, being shorter than your average T, being shorter than your average K. And this is purely for aerodynamic reasons. But ultimately, we don't really see this. We see most of these as sort of, it's a toss-up. Some people have it longer, some people have it shorter. The only real exception to this is that bottom left corner. So that's the first sort of murky result that we get. Second is we see mostly moderate correlations kind of across the board. Within language, they tend to be a little bit stronger and more likely to be significant. So in English, you see all of them. They're in the 6.63 and above range. In Cantonese, you get 2 out of 3 pairwise correlations as being significant, and they're kind of 55 and up. When you go to across language comparisons, you see a couple of them in that zone, but most of them are really weak and not significant. So we see some evidence of uniformity within languages and very little across languages. So the takeaway really here is that it's kind of murky. There's a lot less structure in the voice onset time variation than we anticipated. While I didn't go into it here, the mixed effects model shows that English T's and K's are consistently longer. These talkers are maintaining the distinction. And together, all of this has a lot of implications for how we think about systems of sound interacting with each other.